My Hero Academia is an anime, and this is an iceberg. I'm not going to explain what the iceberg is. If you're on YouTube, you probably know what it is right now, so I'm not going to explain it. This one is just about My Hero Academia, which surprisingly doesn't have any icebergs. So I decided to make one myself and make a video on it. I'll explain everything, and if you guys have suggestions to add into the iceberg, comment down below, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let's dive into the My Hero Academia iceberg. The fandom. If you talk to anyone in 2021 about My Hero, they're probably gonna mention the fandom. The fandom is one of the fastest growing I've seen. Compared to Dragon Ball and Naruto, My Hero took off the minute it aired in 2016. And of course, there's always a good side and a bad side. The good side of the fandom is filled with amazing, talented people, artists, cosplayers, and some not so much. The fandom is gonna play a big part in this iceberg, so this is key to remember. Mineta hate. Minoru Mineta is rather a controversial figure in the fandom itself. It's split between A, people don't care, B, people like him and think he's funny, or C, people that want him dead on a stick or want him to be expelled from 1A. To be honest, I'm okay with Mineta. He's definitely not best boy, but honestly, I feel like the hate gets a little too extreme to the bit where people are a little too much on it, but yeah, let's move on. Vigilantes. My Hero Academia Vigilantes is a spin-off of manga written by Hideyuki Furuhashi and drawn by Betancourt. It revolves around Koichi Himawari and Kazuyo Hanayama to join a vigilante group to fight crime. This manga has a way darker tone than base My Hero Academia, and it's actually canon, taking place years before My Hero Academia's story takes place. Who is the traitor? Ever since the training camp arc, it's been speculated that someone in UA is a traitor, giving information to the League of Villains so they can prepare attacks against the school. A lot of fan theories are out there, speculating many characters like Kaminari and Tsuyu. I'm only going to put 2 of these on the iceberg because the iceberg would just be cluttered with the word traitor, and I'd rather not have that. Let's go to the most popular one. President Mike is the traitor. The most popular of these traitor theories is that President Mike, the pro hero himself, is the traitor. I don't know much about this theory because I forgot a lot about it, but it would just be sad because President Mike is my favorite pro hero. But let's move on to another well-known theory in the fandom. Dabi is a Todoroki. Ever since his debut using blue flames in the training camp arc and the way he said Shota Todoroki, a lot of people speculate that Dabi was a runaway Todoroki brother who escaped Endeavor's abuse. This got really popular, and the reason it's so high up here is because it actually got confirmed. Chapter 290, when facing off against Endeavor and Shota, he confirms to be Toya Todoroki. All for One is Deku's dad. Another popular family theory is that All for One was Deku's original dad. There's some theories that support this, but I don't believe it myself, but it would be a very interesting twist if this happens. We already got the twist that Shigaraki was Shimura's grandson, so it's anything ups for game with Horikoshi. Mutant-based or animal-based quirks. This refers to the quirks that give the attributes of an animal or animalistic behaviors to quirk users. This is up on the list because it's weird to speculate how would these react to the powers of All for One, which steals the quirk, or Aizawa's quirk, which stops the quirk. Examples of this is Tsuyu's frog quirk, Ojiro's tail quirk, and Spinner's gecko quirk. All Might's death hinted. A lot of people speculate that All Might will die in the My Hero series. This is from the shonen trope that the mentors die. An example is Jiraiya in Naruto Shippuden and Master Roshi in the original Dragon Ball. Personally, I do believe All Might is gonna die. We don't know when, it's definitely not the current chapter since he's still fine after that wave. However, it's gonna be a huge development point for Deku in the class of 1A, so I doubt Horikoshi's not gonna let All Might live, unfortunately. Father. On Shigaraki's villain suit, the name of the hand on his face is called Father. The reason is for this is, in chapter 237, All for One presents Shigaraki with severed hands, and one of them was Shigaraki's father, who died after Shigaraki activated his quirk Decay and killed him. Shinzo in 1A. Shinzo was a really popular character in the fandom, and some really want him to be in the hero course, preferably replacing Mineta. These dreams came true for Hitoshi. No, Mineta didn't get expelled, but in chapter 216, after the joint training arc, Vlad King said that Shinzo has what it takes to be a hero, and is led into the hero course in his second year. Congrats, Shinzo. That's a nasty scar you got there. Chapter 192 has Endeavor coming home to his family after the current arc battle, which Todoroki greets him saying that's a nasty scar you got there, while slurping his soba in a sarcastic way. This is on here because it's such a great quote for Todoroki fans, especially knowing how much pain and suffering Endeavor caused, and even leading to Todoroki getting the scar in his eye, similar to the one Endeavor has now. Jump Force. Jump Force is an action fighting game produced in 2019 by Spike Chunsoft. The game is on here because it features the main hero Deku in the base game, and for DLC we got Bakugou, Todoroki, and All Might, which is BS because we could have gotten another Black Clover character, we couldn't gotten Tanjiro, we could have gotten Yuji, we could have gotten Suna, and Jump Force is so bad, I just wanted them in. Okay, crying over. Kachan, we were 5. You all saw this coming. Basically, Kachan We Were 5 is a yaoi romance audio made by Joey Hood and Tater. I'm not gonna explain what it is because that's for you to find out, and it's most notorious for the phrase,
Kachan, we were 5.
Fake Bakugou death screenshot. In summer of 2019, a fake manga panel circulated around the internet where Kirishima is crying, begging if there's anything we can do, and Deku saying that Bakugou is simply dead. A lot of people panicked thinking Bakugou died in a manga, which is convincing considering they're on the League of Villains arc during the time, but it turned out to be fake, and that Kirishima panel was from a chapter earlier. Student comparisons to pro heroes. If you're a fan or just Todoroki, you know what this is about. Basically, a lot of people like to bring up similarities to Class 1A students to pro heroes, and also students outside of the class. Similarities are Deku and All Might, obvious since Deku inherited One for All from All Might, Hitoshi and Aizawa, simply because of their eyes' ability to manipulate quirks and also just being dead inside, Tokoyami and Hawks because of their bird attributes, and others say Kaminari and Present Might because of their blonde hair and outgoing personalities, but I don't really see that. Todoroki, you do the math. Quirk singularity theory. This theory plays a huge part in the My Hero story. Basically, Dr. Kyodai Garaki proposed a theory that quirks get stronger and stronger with each generation. Before, doctors would just dismiss him thinking he's crazy. However, when he met All for One, it turns out that a lot of people started to accept it, mainly because of All for One's influence and his quirk being able to steal quirks. Anime edits, body shaming controversy. This revolves around Yaoyoroza. In the manga, she's shown to be a little bigger size, especially in the cheerleader outfit. However, the anime slimmed her down. This led to a lot of people feeling upset with the way the anime went, just slimming down her because she was thin. I identify as male, so I have no right to speak on this, but plus size people watching this, you guys are valid. Momo and Shisaki are related. Speaking of Yaoyoroza, a popular theory around her is that she's related to the Season 4 villain Overhaul. People bring this up when it's compared to their eyes, the way their quirks are exact opposites, and their rich, prestigious background. We don't have much on this since Overhaul is MIA in the manga, but who knows, it can be just like Todoroki and Dabi. Ochako with Mount Lady's quirk. Originally in My Hero, Ochako was going to have Mount Lady's name and quirk. In fact, there's even a beta design of her with the beta Mount Lady outfit. You can check it out on the wiki, and it's pretty cool how she almost became Mount Lady, but now we know her as Uravity. Aoyama staring at the viewer. For some unknown reason in the anime, Aoyama likes to break the fourth wall and stare at the viewer. He even does this in the opening. People speculate he's the traitor because of this, because he knows he's in a fictional world, but that's beyond far-fetched in my opinion. I just think he's being funny as usual. Shoji is a Parasite reference. This is not really talked about, but it's obvious. The way his eye sticks out on one of his tentacles, the way a mouth is sticking out, it's similar to Migi in Parasite. This is your cue to watch Parasite, it's really good. Kaminari's mom. In Heroes Rising, we see an action scene with a lady who uses a similar quirk to Denki Kaminari with electricity, and with her hair, a lot of people think, is this Kaminari's mom or relative? We have yet to see her ever, but most likely, but we don't know much on her, so we can't assume she's Kaminari's mom. The crossed out faces of 1A. Horikoshi on his Twitter posted this weird image of Class 1A with X's crossed out on them around August 23rd, and people speculated what it meant. People thought that these are the characters that are gonna die, but I doubt it considering A, they're all fine in the current chapter, and B, why would he kill off Izuku and Bakugou at the same time? People also speculated these are people fighting in the arc, but this is false as Tokoyami and Sato are fighting, yet they're not X'd out. And plus another thing that caused a lot of suspicion is on the left side, you can see Pokemon, as in what Pokemon would Class 1A use? The Taco Bell ad. This is a late addition to the Iceberg because I just heard it on my car radio. This is about nacho fries, and a lot of people like to say it sounds like Deku, however there's no confirmation on who is voicing the ad. We don't know if it's Justin Briner, so...
Run to Taco Bell, because nacho fries are back. Head to Taco Bell and silence your cravings before nacho fries disappear again. Only at Taco Bell.
Canon status of the movies. My Hero currently has 2 movies, Heroes Rising and 2 Heroes, and although they're considered non-canon, they actually have evidence that rebutes this. For example, Deku uses the gloves given by Melissa's shield in one episode, and in volume 25, it's hinted that Melissa helped make Endeavor's suit. Horikoshi stated that they're just separate entities and not really going with the main story of the manga and just there for fun. Black Clover mangaka sketch. Yuki Tabata, the creator of Black Clover, is friends with Horikoshi, so they drew their characters in their own art style, Asta in Horikoshi's, and Deku and Tabata with others. A lot of people don't like Tabata's look, considering how the noses are pointy and Ochako looks weird, but I think both are fine. This is your cue to check out Black Clover as well. Marvel DC similarities. Anyone who knows Horikoshi knows that he's a huge Western comic book fan of Marvel and DC, and this bleeds into his work. People will quickly point out how Twice is like Deadpool, or how Toga has a resemblance personality-wise to Harley Quinn, but there's some unknown hidden ones. For example, Melissa Shield, her last name is a reference to Shield from Marvel, and Aoyama's power is similar to that of Cyclops, which is, instead of an eye, it's his belly button. Baku Mobile. Basically, it's about this one fangirl who's really obsessed with Bakugou, specifically the ship Baku, so much that they've done everything. Cakes, garages, and their most notorious is their car being decorated to be Bakugou and Kirishima themed, with the actual license plate being Bakugou, and they even have an electronic mini car with Baku on it. I actually saw this in real life when I went to a con. This one got banned immediately by con staff, not the actual car, the electronic one, but I saw both of them and I was like, huh. Yagami Yado. Another late addition to the Iceberg, this one revolves around a famous ASMRist, Yagami Yado, who has been accused of grooming children and sexualizing minors in a bad way. This got so bad to the point that she tried to say that she was working for season 5 of My Hero in the dub, until Funimation released a statement on TikTok saying that there's nothing that they're doing with her and that it was all just a lie. Yagami responded to this by saying she had someone she knows from Funimation that was gonna get her a job, but it didn't work out. But I don't know, this story is confusing, and knowing her track record, it's not good for her. And no, this ain't the guy from Noragami, I thought so myself. The flawed hero system in My Hero. This can cover a whole video, but I'm not gonna explain it in detail just for sake of time. I'm just gonna sum it up. Basically, the hero system in My Hero is flawed in the sense that it rewards heroes that not only value justice, but value fame, fortune, and money, no matter what their true goal is. And this is brought up by the hero killer Stain, who exposes the frauds of justice, thinking them as scum of society. Which brings us to a reality that none of us really expected from a happy-go-lucky show like My Hero, how society plays a part in whether or not you're a hero. You're a hero if you're perceived good, and you're not if you just aren't a hero, and it's kind of sad and really pushes a lot of characters in My Hero like Deku, Shigaraki, and of course Stain. I'm gonna leave it at that, but there's so much discussion on this, I recommend looking into it. It's really interesting, especially if you're an MHA fan. Zuko copy. In the Latin American dub of Two Heroes, Bakugou insults Todoroki by calling him a Zuko copy. This is shocking considering how a lot of people compare Todoroki and Zuko from Avatar, so it's pretty cool, but also like, wow, I'm surprised Nickelodeon hasn't gone ape on them. I would post a clip, but the other clips that have been posted got taken down for copyright, and I don't want this video to get struck by copyright, so yeah. Ground Zero. Bakugou's hero name has been hinted to be Ground Zero for a while, especially in the beta prototype drawing of Bakugou where we see his hero name to be Ground Zero, and a lot of people went with it because it's the center of explosion. This of course was changed when we found out that his real hero name is Dynamite. Mirko dub controversy. When the dub of Season 4 was announced, people looked at Mirko's voice actor, and a lot of people in first impression thought she didn't sound black, but this was easily refuted when they found out that the voice actor of Mirko is black herself, and that led to a lot of drama on Twitter and other social media. I have no right to speak on this because I am not black myself, but hey, Mirko's voice actor is really cool. She voiced NASA and Echidna, so yeah. Tenya Ida Minecraft. This one is a personal fave I put. In the early days of the fandom, there was a video spreading around of a Diddy video saying Tenya Ida Minecraft. He looks like Minecraft. It's a funny video, let me play it.
Cause I'm gonna miss you. And I'm done Minecraft. Look like my dad. And I'm done Minecraft. You look like Minecraft. Cause I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah, I put this on here because immediately after 2017, I have not seen a single person post it, and it's kind of weird, like the video disappeared out of existence. Todoroni and Cheese. Remember that Mr. Hood and Tater guy from Kachan We Were 5? Well, he's back with another video with Todoroni and Cheese. You watch it for yourself. I put this lower because it only really spread around TikTok and a little of YouTube, but yeah, Joey Hood and Tater made it twice on this. Notice me. Omagadoki Zoo and Barrage. Before making My Hero Academia, Horikoshi made two other mangas for Shonen Jump, Omagadoki Zoo and Barrage. Omagadoki Zoo is the first one, being about a girl named Aoi who cares for a cursed zoo, and Barrage about a boy exploring the planet Industralia, originally from the slums. These didn't get too far as they were cancelled early on, Barrage only getting 2 volumes and Omagadoki Zoo having 5 but never published outside of Japan. Nevertheless, Omagadoki Zoo still had its influence on My Hero, with many characters crossing over. An example is Gang Orca, or Kugo Sakamada, who came from Omagadoki Zoo originally. Jack Midoriya, My Hero. Speaking of Horikoshi's earlier work, let's talk about My Hero. This involves the protagonist Jack Midoriya, a salaryman who collects hero stuff and dreams to be like the heroes he idolizes. There are drastic differences from the original to now. For example, Jack is young down to be Izuku, and his sickness is given to All Might instead. Yeah, there's a lot more in this, and I highly recommend you read it. It really gives into a glimpse of what Horikoshi had in mind. Horikoshi, death threats. This is what led the fandom into its infamy. In 2018, specifically the summer, Endeavor was getting a redemption arc, and a lot of fans did not like this, considering how terrible Endeavor is. This led into death threats being sent into Horikoshi, an anti-Horikoshi flag being spread, and a lot of negative backlash because of this. This really is sad because Horikoshi tries his best to make the characters enjoyable even if they are terrible, and see that people are getting better. Of course, Endeavor is still terrible and his actions cannot be excused, but yeah. This situation really drove me out of the fandom for a while, and it just kind of hurts talking about it, but yeah. Deku's quirk was stolen. Deku's parents had quirks, yet he doesn't. His father can breathe fire, and his mom can lift small objects. Then why can't he? Well, a lot of people speculate that his quirk was stolen, specifically by the doctor who examined him. Why is that, you may ask? Because that doctor was the one who made the quirk singularity theory, the one that works for All for One. So a lot of people think that his quirk was stolen by him, so All for One could get more quirks. Speaking of the doctor, World War II name controversy. In February of 2020, Horikoshi confirmed that the name of the doctor was similar to that of an imperial force in World War II Japan that rounded up people in China and committed genocide against them. This led to a lot of backlash, especially from China, which banned My Hero from being published. Shonen Jump and Horikoshi immediately apologized for receiving it, and they changed his name to the one we have today. However, this damage was still done, and he still got death threats for this. I don't know if this is happening till this day, but it's really controversial, and the worst I've seen My Hero in. Mitsuki is abusive. In Season 3, we were introduced to Bakugou's parents, specifically his mom, Mitsuki Bakugou. However, compared to the other parents we meet, she seems to be a lot more angrier. As we see, she states the reason he was kidnapped was because he was too weak, and repeatedly hitting Bakugou in front of Aizawa and All Might. This has people think she's abusive. This is deep down because of how dark it is. I don't like Bakugou that much, but to see him grow up in an abusive household and he carries the abuse onto Deku and his classmates is sad and gives me a lot more sympathy for the character rather than just being a dumb bully. Tokoyami is the quirk. Finally, I get to talk about my favorite bird boy. Tokoyami's power is Dark Shadow, in which she can manipulate an entity called Dark Shadow through darkness. However, people speculate that Dark Shadow is the user and that Tokoyami's body is the quirk, serving as an entity for Dark Shadow to live on. It's explained by how he always has his arms under his cloak when fighting, and also how he never seems to get hurt or scratched, only getting one scuff on his beak during the fight against Ectoplasm, even against Moonfish. You see, he's not really battered up at all. This has also led on to people think that Dark Shadow is the traitor and using Tokoyami as a puppet. However, this is a bit too far-fetched, as why would he be captured by Mr. Compress? But I still think this theory is interesting and it needs a lot more limelight. Ochako is the traitor. This is the second of the traitor theories that I put on the iceberg. This speculates that the love interest Ochaku Uraraka is the traitor of 1A, reason being on how Toga reacts to her in a weird way, especially during her internship arc, and how surprisingly Shigaraki was there at the mall at the same time Deku and Uraraka were there. And the reason it's here instead of something like Kaminari, Suyu, or even Toga is because it's sad in context. Ochako is someone who lives in poverty, someone who has a crush on Deku. In fact, the reason Deku is in UA is because he saved Uraraka. Imagine the girl that loved you so much, the girl that helped you get into UA, was ready to kill you and your classmates all along. Nomus are made from dead or kidnapped heroes or civilians. When we get a glimpse of Tsubasa's Nomu farms, the people that are in the pods that look similar to previous background characters are being made into Nomus, which made a lot of people speculate that Nomus are actually from people kidnapped or killed in the line of battle or just kidnapped by the League of Villains out of nowhere, and that gives us a whole darker meaning to the brainless beings that attacked UA in the city. In fact, the biggest pointer that proves this theory is real is Oboru. Oboru was one of Aizawa's and President Mike's classmate friends who was killed in a battle against a villain. His body was then later recovered by All for One and transformed into Kurogiri. Although completely different from the other Nomus, he's really intelligent, and his purpose was to guide Shigaraki in becoming the ultimate villain. This just makes the theory 10 times sadder because it affected a real-life character we know in the story instead of just some random one-off civilian. And it kind of hurts. This is heavily built on in Vigilantes, so that's where Vigilantes plays in this, and I definitely recommend looking into it, especially if you love Aizawa or President Mike, or just want to know more about this character, whether it's Oboru or Kurogiri. Overhaul makes Eri feel his past trauma. Eri's quirk is Rewind, which can rewind to any state at all by a touch. This, under Overhaul's captivity, made people suspect that Chisaki made Eri feel his past trauma using the quirk, and which explains why she's so traumatized, other than Overhaul's cruel nature and experiments against her, which gives Eri a lot more drama than we thought she had. Toga and Monoma are related. Himiko Toga is the crazy girl that fawns over Deku, and Nato Monoma is the kid in Class 1E that always mocks 1A. This theory suggests that these two are related in siblings, whether by how they behave towards characters, their quirks being similar, and a lot of people think that Monoma is the traitor with how much he taunts 1A. This has yet to be confirmed or led anywhere, but I do like this theory, especially with how similar they look. Total fatality count of the Decay Wave. In the most recent chapter of recording, Shigaraki awakened his new powers and obliterated most of the city. And we have seen that it led to a lot of deaths, for example, Midnight, a popular character, but people don't know it's not just pro heroes and hopefully none of the students. This was a whole city. A whole city was ravaged because of his true potential quirk, which decayed everything. In fact, people even speculate that Deku's mom died, which is going to lead to a lot more weight during the final battle between them. Alright, that's the Iceberg. Wow, this is one of my first ones. I made it, and I read it, and I loved it. Thank you so much. If you can, make sure to like, subscribe, definitely subscribe, comment, donate to my Ko-fi if you can, and enjoy. Have a great day. And yeah, videos are going to be slower because of college. College is giving me a run for my money, so be patient. I will make sure to get a video out as soon as I can.